All right, we are rocking and rolling. It is 3D printing time. Well, 3D printing time is already over. This is what to do after 3D printing time, which is the painting of the 3D printing time stuff. Oh yeah. So, I picked up a 3D resin printer. I picked up an Elegoo Satyr. Sitting right here off cam. I've shown off the pictures and stuff before. And I have been printing stuff. Like this whole box of Guild Wars 2 Char Beastmen. This entire Dread Saurian. So yeah, so this is a whole Dread Saurian. This is a gift from my friend Matt. And then I'm going to print myself one, but he just sort of snaps together. He needs some nub cleanup. I'm going to leave that to Matt. See, so like these won't fit perfectly together. It's because there's actually little tiny nubs in there on all the flat surfaces that just need to be sanded off. But yeah, he's gonna be a big Shongus when he's all done. The other half of the body's in the cooker. And he's got this big platform that goes on his back, something like that, or like this. I don't know. I think there's like that. He's got a big platform that goes on his back. He's got platforms that go on the sides, like that. He's a big honking boy. Really cool legs. This one that goes on the front. No, this one goes. Is it? No. What goes on the front? Is it this one? Yeah. So when they get cleaned up, they won't have spaces. But because they're still loose, they've got spaces still. Okay, where's the other freaking leg? Yeah, it's gotta be this one. Alright, oh, there it is. Okay, there's how it goes. It's like being pulled back. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, so he's a big fucking Shongus. So that's a gift from my friend Matt. I made that. The last bit is cooking right now. But the things that I made for me, I made myself this Lord of Blights, Lord of Plagues, Lord of Nurgle, Nurgly goodness here to go into my Nurgle army and be a replacement. I really liked this model because one, it's a pig and it gets called balls on it, which is awesome. But I really liked how close it was to the original model. Like, it's very clearly like intended to sub in for a very specific model. I thought that was super cool. So I got him to paint, and then I've got this Mama Jama. So this guy is from Beastaria Miniatures, and he's they call him the Maul, but he is a sub for Beasts of Nurgle. So I love the Beasts of Nurgle mini. I have one, but I also wanted something that wasn't the Beasts of Nurgle mini, right? Like, I wanted more than one Beast of Nurgle, but I wanted them to be different. So this is the Maul. And he has a bunch of different tongues and stuff. I picked this one because I thought it looked the most fun. But he's got some other ones that you can put in there instead if you want. But he's what we're going to be painting today. Also on the paint table recently has been some Chaos Warriors. There he is. Chaos Warriors. I decided to go with super classic colors after not liking the orange. This is me starting to try the orange. I just didn't like it. Did not feel it. So we went with this. And then other stuff that's been painted recently. We've got some Dreadwolves. So this is my first completed vampire unit. And that's the unit of Wolfies. Hello! Yeah, so pretty fun. But this is the guy we're going to be working on today. My 3D printed The Maul from Beastarium. Hello! Oop. Okay. So, how do I normally paint my nurgle stuff? So what I normally do is I paint in all the details, and then the big patches, I mix up a custom contrast paint to do. So my nurgle stuff is based off of two different a green, a yellow, and a red. So it's like the base skin tones, and I usually mix up a custom contrast paint. Then I slap all that on, and then I go back and touch up any details that I screwed up. So usually I paint the details first in case I fuck the details up. They are very easy to clean up now while he's still white and primed, as opposed to later when he has the custom paint on it. It'll be real fucking pain in the ass. So, yeah. So, let's pick some colors out. Our handy dandy Mr. Cutter. Alright, so let's see what colors we got. We got a lot of skin, right? So this is going to be some kind of contrast mix that I'm going to come up with. We got a whole lots of tentacle boys. We could do those in green, we could do them in pink, or we could do them in purple. We've got some gems here that could be eyes, or they could be pustules. I feel like a couple of these would make cool eyes, and a couple would make cool pustules. Like maybe that one's an eye, and that one's an eye. Maybe these are pustules. But the eye ones, they're going to be white, just like pure, dead, zombie white. And the pustules, they'll either be like green or purple or pink. Probably what I'm thinking. Alright, we got a bunch of teeth. So I need to grab a teeth color. We have a horn here. So we need to grab a color for that. Why are you shaking so much, camera? Sort your shit out, camera. Goddamn, boy. Alright, so I need assorted colors for this, right? So this will be some kind of bone color. I typically use like drake tooth or skeleton bone from Army Painter. I'm trying to see if I have any skeleton bone left. If I do, we will use that. Skeleton bone. Alright, so there's our teeth right there. That's going to be our teeth. Ooh, we'll use you for something. You're a cool purple. And then I need a green. I need a green for nerdly green bits. I've got Gundams all over my painting stuff. So I apologize as I dig through it. No. Too green. Combat Fatigues is not a bad green. That's kind of cool. I like that one. Yeah, I like this guy a lot. He's really neat. Venom Liam is what I would probably normally use, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit and find something a little more elf green. We'll go with Venom Liam. I do really like that color. Alright, so far we've got these three here. We've got teeth, we've got like boils and maybe tentacles. Maybe that's what we'll do. And then I need a white for the eyes, which will be, because I don't want it to be pure white, we're going to use Spaceship Exterior because it's an amazing white variant. Alright, let's get some colors down. But yeah, the 3D, God, knocking everything over today. The 3D printer, honestly, has been a fucking blast. And the, fucking words, Josh. Jesus, man. Yeah, the 3D printer has been a blast, and the Elegoo Saturn was like a dream to set up. Like, literally, I got it out of the box, and I made sure the lights worked on it, and then I set the home position on it, all of which there's instructions for and how to do it. Really fucking easy, by the way. I did those two things, and then it was ready to print. Like, that was it. So, like, setup for this printer, I mean, we're talking maybe 20 minutes here. At most. Like it just went together like a dream. Sorry, there's a little bit of clog in this purple, apparently. So yeah, like it set up and went together like a dream. Using it, you do have to be careful because of smells and gloves, and basically anytime you touch uncured resin, you just have to be very careful. So I'm wearing a mask, I'm wearing gloves, and haven't really had any problems. It does have a smell. Ooh, this purple is way too dark. I really like the coverage, but man, yeah, that's too dark. You're never going to be able to see dirt in that. Really, like, we want to use lighter colors for nurgle, because then you can see when we make it dirty later on. Got oozing purple. That's not a bad one. Alien purple's not bad either. Let's do alien purple. It's got more purple to it than oozing does. Oozing is a little more pastel. Well, while I like this color a lot, you're not going to see any details in it, so we want to do a lighter color. Agree with lighter colors, or agree with the ease of setting up the Elegoo Saturn? So yeah, so that's a little lighter. This will dry a little later, so that'll be nice. So we're just kind of slapping it in there. If it gets anywhere we don't want it, that's fine. We can figure that out later. Right now we're just trying to block colors on. So, but yeah, like I had a couple of failed prints so far. So what that means is, like, something went wrong in the printing process and it screwed up. Thankfully, I haven't had anything that's caused damage to the printer, because that can happen. But thankfully, that hasn't happened. So I've had 2 failed prints. One of which, well, both of which were because the cure time on the printer was too low. So what was happening was the printer itself was actually pulling the models off of the supports before they were completed, and then, like, crushing them. So happy that didn't cause any irreparable damage, because that could have totally happened. So what I did then was I basically doubled the cure time. I don't think that's probably the most elegant solution, but it's the one that worked for me, and I haven't had trouble since. So it's pretty sweet. I quite like, it definitely adds to the time, right? Like, it adds a good chunk to the total time. However, because I've basically just been printing at night when I'm asleep, it doesn't really matter, right? Like I'm not, like, sitting up waiting for these prints, right? Like, you know, I just start it when I go to bed, and then, you know, when I get home from work the next day, like, I pull it off the printer. Like, I don't think there's any problem with letting it sit like that. At least I haven't had any problem yet. So, that's, you know, so I don't mind the extra time, and it means that I haven't had a single failed print since. So I really can't complain too much. I think it's pretty good. So I'm using the default settings for the Elegoo Saturn. Yeah, the lighter purple's cool. This is, what purple did I say this was? Sure, it's alien purple for Ari Painter. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, so I'm using the default settings for the Elegoo Saturn. It is, and then hold on, blah, my brain. Yeah, so I'm using the default settings, and then I went and I increased the exposure time from 2.5 seconds to 5 seconds. And I, what else did I do? Oh, I lowered the lift speed super slightly from 70 to 60. And since I've done that, I haven't had a single failed print. It's been perfectly fine. Ooh, that's dog hair. Thanks. Thanks, dog. You're helping me paint my nurgle stuff. But yeah, so next up, I am going to paint or print. Why are you so wiggly, camera? Come on. So next up, I'm going to print some NPCs for Stargrave. So we're going to get a couple like shopkeepers. I have one of which printed already right here. So yeah. So we're going to get a couple shopkeepers. I'm going to get like a stripper. All kinds of weird, just like sci-fi, cyberpunk kind of minis. Gonna get all kinds of weird shit like that. Like a business guy with like a bunch of money and, you know, just stuff that can make cool NPCs for when I'm playing Stargrave on Sundays. So that's my next goal. After that, I'm going to print out a war mammoth for a friend out here in Hawaii. So that's pretty cool. So it's like a giant chaos thing that looks like it's from Lord of the Rings. It's pretty cool. I found a STL for it for my friend. He's wanted one for a while, so after I do my Stargrave minis, gonna start printing that out for him. And then after that, I might start working on my Dread Saurian, because the one that I showed off earlier, that's a gift for a friend. So or I might move on to something else. I don't know, because I'm not really. So I have a Lizardman army, but I haven't been painting them because they're kind of like a special project. So I haven't been touching them because of that. All right. Got all his tentacles. Let's do the inside of the mouth like a fleshy color. So this is my go-to for any flesh because I just fucking love this color. It's like a, I don't know. It's like I don't know how to describe this pink. It's like well, let me rephrase that. I know how to describe this pink, but I can't think of like a way that's not lewd. So yeah. But I like this pink because it's like, I don't know. It's like all of your soft bits pink. It's not like a skin tone pink. It's like a underneath your tongue pink. And that's why I like it. That's the flesh tone I use a lot for mouths and like bellies and things like that. We'll do this in pink, and then we'll do the tongue. I don't know. I might get out the tongue. So I don't really want orphan colors, but the tongue is such a big part of the model that I might actually make it a custom color. So the tongue might actually get like, be like super bright pink or something. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. So I will say the tongue is optional on this guy. The Maul from Beastarium Miniatures. The tongue is totally optional. So if you don't want the tongue, he has just a fully detailed mouth inside. Which is pretty sweet. So you can see I'm overpainting the teeth here. That's because I just want a little bit of gum around the teeth, right? And it's easier to do this now before I have the teeth painted in, because I don't have to worry about getting paint on the teeth. If I get the paint on the teeth now, it doesn't matter. But after they're painted, getting around the gums is going to be a nightmare. So I just want to sort of do this now, and then I can pick out the teeth later. And this is going to get 2 coats, but we're going to let it dry between. So we'll use up whatever paint's here, and then we'll move on to something else while this dries, and then we'll come back and do the second coat. And just trying to get the paint where we want it, and it doesn't matter if it gets anywhere else. Alright. So yeah, bunch of really cool like Necromunda stuff from a producer called Gamak. And then there's some more Necromunda stuff I was just looking at like a minute ago. That all seems like cyberpunk themed, like the video game Cyberpunk. So that's pretty sweet. And I think, and that's the kind of stuff I'm going to shoot for Stargrave. Just stuff because I want to have some like more NPC kind of characters in Stargrave, right? So it's not just like kill the other guy, get the loot every time. It might be like escort this NPC or capture this NPC or something. Something like that. So I'm just picking out ones to be eyes right now. So like I do want there to be multiple eyes because it's going to look weird and creepy. That's what I want. But I also do want some of these to be boils too. If it has too many eyes, it's going to look zinchy. How long have you been painting for? I don't know, a couple of years? I used to only do Gunpla, honestly, and yeah, so I have I don't know. I don't follow a lot of like the painting standards, I know, but I sort of paint how I enjoy doing it, and it's worked out for me. I've got a bunch of awards, and I've got an award for painting Gunpla and stuff. I've got a bunch of mini painting awards, and it's worked out. It's pretty sweet. But it's been a couple of years now, at least since I've been in Hawaii. I've been doing minis. All right, so we gotta pick a color for the tongue. Do we want the darker purple, or do we want the lighter purple? The darker purple is going to tie in better with the tentacles. The lighter purple or the lighter pink is going to draw more of your eye to the center of the mini, which is what we really want, so we will do that. But yeah, just blocking colors in. So we'll put this in for the tongue. It's nice and easy. But yeah, there's a lot of cool cool 3D prints out there, man. I did not realize like the rabbit hole was as deep as it goes. I was actually quite surprised that there's as much out there as there is. Like going through like CD Trader and My Mini Factory and Thingiverse and Thangs and all those places. Like, I did not realize. Oh god, and even the Patreons. Oh my god, like there's just so much out there. The really neat thing is a lot of them are moving towards making modular minis. So that you don't have just, you know, like 3 of the same sculpt or whatever. So that's pretty sweet too. So like you have some customization then of what goes where. All right, we got our pink blocked in. I don't know if I'm very good, but thank you. I appreciate that. I paint a lot. If there was one tip to getting better at painting, it would just be do it more. It's that kind of skill. Like the more you do it, the more it just like becomes, I don't know. Like it becomes less scary, right? And you have less hesitation, right? Like I'm just kind of slapping paint on this model, like just straight up, you know, and like I know I'm gonna screw up and stuff, but I've kind of figured out my order of operations already, and sort of what I did at the beginning. So that way, if I screw up, it doesn't matter, right? Like, I don't have to do this huge process of fixing it if I screw up, because I've already, you know, I've set up my order of operations to the point that like I've reduced the impact of those mistakes. You know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do all the flesh last, because that way if I make a mistake painting in any details, well, then it doesn't matter. You know, because I can just paint over it when I do the flesh color or whatever. So, you know, this paint, even straight out of the bottle, not being thinned or anything, she's a little runny. This green is. So, she's going to need 2 coats at least to get good coverage. But yeah, just painting more. Like, painting is my like anxiety escape, and I'm very anxious all the time. So pretty much anytime me and my husband like aren't playing video games together, which is like the other thing that I do for anxiety escape, pretty much when we're not doing that, I'm painting. There's a little boil there. So like we only have like a 2-bedroom, we only have like a little 2-bedroom house out here in Hawaii, and the 2nd bedroom is actually my painting studio. Studio being a strong word. It's the 2nd bedroom that I have a desk in that I paint at. And then I've got all my streaming stuff, and that's where I paint at. Alright, so pretty much every night after he goes to bed, you can find me here. Or if he's doing other video game stuff with other folks, like playing like PvP or something, I'll be here just painting away. You know, I'm not a big fan of painting like massive armies. I really like painting like unique stuff, so I have. Oh, that's still dry. All right, that's still drying. We're gonna leave that alone. We'll go back and do our second. It's a good mechanism to have for a coping mechanism. Yeah, there's definitely worse ones. As you can tell, I'm a big old fat ass, so overeating is another one. And shopping, which is why I have so much shit. So, yeah. There's definitely worse ones. But yeah. So, it's fun. And it's nice. Like, if you're painting something, right, like, doesn't matter what's going on in the world or at work or in your life. Like, what matters right there at that moment is that guy's boots, or this guy's rifle, or this lady's holster, or, you know, like anything like that. Like, nothing else matters at that moment besides the thing that you're doing. And it's really nice. It lets me reset my brain a little bit. Now we're going to darken this purple down a little bit, and then it will dry later again. And we're just going to have faith that that's going to happen. So that's how paints work. They always dry lighter than darker. And then once that's all dry, we'll give it a little bit, and then we'll go back and we'll touch some areas up. So our green there needs a second coat. There we go. Alright, and while that's drying, let's get some teeth done. Skeleton bone! Skeleton bone! Warriors! Well, this guy's always a little thick. I probably should thin this guy, because he's always a little thick, but it's all good. It's all good. Go into the smaller brush. We have lots of tiny teeth to paint. This guy meets his name of the Mall. Alright, so once all these base coats are done on all the details, what we're going to do is we're going to tidy up any areas that it sort of overflowed onto that we don't want it to. Right, like areas I might have overpainted the teeth, or areas that I might have, I don't know, like overpainted the purple or whatever, right? We're going to tidy all those up. We're just going to tie those up with off-white. Just because then the next step is going to be putting contrast skin tone down on everything. And this step, we're going to mix up. I'm going to mix a couple paints together to make a custom contrast skin tone. And then after that, we're going to come back and we're going to touch up all the details again. Because I'm sure I'm going to mess up putting this contrast paint on everything. I know I will. Look, I know I'm going to screw up and put it somewhere it shouldn't be, right? A little too much on this, a little too little on that, something like that. So we're going to come back and we're going to touch up all those details then. And while we're doing that, we're going to have to be super neat, right? So that's when we're going to have to really, really, really focus on making sure those details are clean. Because right now, you know, much less, right? Right now is much more chill. We're just kind of slapping paint on, stuff like that. So yeah, so once that contrast paint is on, we're going to let it dry. And then after that dries, we go through and we do the touch up again. After that, we're going to hit the whole thing with some washes. So that will probably be Agrax Earthshade. And the point of that is to add details to the stuff that we didn't hit. Or details, sorry. To add some... fuck, God, words are hard today. To add some light and shadows, sorry. To the pieces that didn't get the contrast paint. Right, so like these teeth, for example, they're not going to get hit with contrast. So we want them to have some kind of shadow and some kind of like tonal difference, so we're going to hit them with shade. I'm actually debating not doing the mouth with contrast either. I think that might be a good idea. Normally I kind of slather it on everything, but I think the mouth will look cooler if it's more pink. And then we just hit it with the wash afterwards. Yeah, you can see how thick some of this paint is. The skeleton bone comes out of the tube really, really thick. You can see it as I'm putting it on. It's all good. Forgot how long this purple paint takes to dry. I keep touching it with my hand. It's still tacky here and there. It takes a long time to dry, man. We might actually be moving over to our pig friend before this is dry. I was hoping to get the contrast. Stop wiggling, damn it. I was hoping to get the contrast in, at least today, so. Whoa, give me a kiss. With extra tongue. Oh. Yeah, these guys are really fun. I love nurgle minis anyway. They're like one of my favorites. Right? Orcs and nurgle are like my favorite things. So the fact that there's so many good sculpts for them out there in the 3D printing world. I've been really looking for a feculent Narwhal 3D sculpt. Not like the official model, but like an alternate. Because I really want like a bunch of them. I want to be able to like run the guy that plants feculent narwhals every turn, but I want all the trees to be different. So I at least want 3 different sculpts of like monster tree. I just have not been able to find a set that like goes together really well. Alright, now we're going to do his big horn down here. Giggity. Just going to block that in. Ooh. A bunch of crap in there. Must have picked up some loose shit on the palette. Alright. Okay. So, let's do some touch up in a couple of spots. Eyes are all probably good. Let's touch them up just to be safe. Doesn't hurt. It's only gonna take a minute. So I stick my hand in something. Doesn't hurt. We'll just touch them up. Alright. And we're just hitting them so they have good coverage. Right, because we want to make sure that they stay white. Because white eye things are creepy. And they will totally read his eyes once the skin color is on. Alright. There we go. And while we've got the white out, we're just going to hit any areas. Where there's just too much other paint. Alright. Now this isn't going to be perfect. It's a nurgle creature, right? He's made of rot and all kinds of stuff. So he's gonna kind of be melting together just because he's fucking nurgle. But I'm just grabbing some areas here where we think, you know, I think maybe the definition needs to be a little stronger. Again, this is not perfect, right? And so things like here, just paint him in with this white, trying to get it ready for that with that. Probably should have left that. That would have made a cool transition. Oh well. Yeah, that would have made a cool transition. Oh well. Oh well. There we go. Did you print this mini as well, or have you bought it? I printed this guy. This is a Beastarium Miniatures The Mall that I got off of My Mini Factory. He was, I think the 3D file is like $4 or something, and then he was about $1.50 to print worth of resin. So he was about $5 in total. I think you can get them printed on Etsy. I think they're like $10 or $12 if you want one. I don't have a license to print them, so I can't really like sell them. I am printing one to give to a friend, but that's you know, that's just me being nice. It's not like, you know, I'm selling them on the internet or anything, you know. So yeah, he is 3D printed by me. He was actually the first thing I 3D printed, to be honest. I was so excited doing the having an alternate Beast of Nurgle that I was like, that's number one. Actually, no, I take that back. I printed otter heads first as a test. So I'm turning my Tau into space otters. So yeah, I printed those first, but this was the first like complete mini I printed. So you can see I'm over painting here again. I did like the idea of having a little transition around the lips. I thought that was kind of cool. When I accidentally painted that one over, I liked the idea, so I decided I'll go back and we'll add that in everywhere, and that should look cool after we contrast over it, because the contrast paint will react differently to it than it will other things. So there we go. Ooh, got some pink on there by accident. There's apparently still some super ship it then to make it. I'm overseas. Interesting. Where are you at, if you don't mind me asking? I'm in Hawaii, so I will fully admit that we get hit with some shipping costs too. I'll tell you what. You can get pretty decent, or at least we used to be able to get pretty decent shipping to Japan, but sometimes the mainland is like, it's $1 trillion. And then sometimes they're like, it's 10 cents. It makes no fucking sense. One time I sent a giant fucking box to my parents for like $10. One time it was like $50. Ah, got more of that pink. Italy. Interesting. That's really cool. Congrats. I think you are my first international person that's ever posted in my chat. So that is super cool. That is super, super cool. I would say something in Italian, but I unfortunately do not know any Italian. I barely speak English. I can speak a little bit of sign language and a super tiny bit of German and Japanese. Like nothing useful, but a super, super tiny bit. I can have a whole conversation in sign language, which is pretty cool. So, I'm like, definitely not fluent, but I can at least communicate decently in sign language. Sweet. There we go. All right. So, the greens, we're going to just go over those with the contrast. So we're not going to worry about it. These purples need to dry a little more before I can really contrast around them. So we're going to set him aside for like a couple of minutes. I'm just going to put him there. And do we want to work on Necromunda guy? Do we want to work on Necromunda guy, or do we want to work on Nurgle Pig? We already have a bunch of the colors out for Nurgle Pig, so let's start doing that, I guess. Alright. So this guy's going to pretty much get the same deal, right? Like painting in details, and then contrasts, and then details, and then washes. So he's going to have essentially the same order of operations, because that's the order of operations that I use pretty much for all my Nurgle stuff. So this way it matches and stays pretty consistent. Alright. So let's see. I want... You're a piggy, so I want to emphasize your piggy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do your face and this. Do your ears like this. And then when we put the contrast on, it should have sort of a nice... We should be able to emphasize a nice transition out of it. The weirdest dream about a pig last night. So I live in like a little neighborhood thing. The weirdest dream that I was walking out to my car and one of my neighbors opened their house, like, and I could open their front door and I could like see into their house. And they had just like this giant, like full size like sow in there. Just like a massive fucking pig, just like chilling in their house. And I was just like, okay. Well, that's the entirety of the dream. It seemed really weird. Figured I would share. Right, I'm gonna have some pink down here. Again, because this is gonna make a different look for the contrast paint. Right, I'm put it here in the hands too. So when the contrast goes over the white, it'll look different going over the pink. And we'll just drag it out, so we'll get a little bit of a fade and a transition. And same thing with this leg. Was it difficult to learn sign language? Sign language actually is not bad, like at all. It was pretty easy. I had a class through work. That's how I learned it. And it was like so there's a couple different kinds of sign language. ASL, which is what I learned, which is American Sign Language, is actually like a pictogram language. So like once you get it through your head that you don't create like all the conjunctions and stuff like that, like you would if it was exact one for one, it makes a lot more sense. Plus, I got to learn some fun phrases, so our teacher, I think, did a really good job. Alright. Ugh. Okay. Digging through the stuff. My box of GW paints. Alright. You're a good one. I'm moving away from these, like paint pots, because I just don't like the paint pots. They don't work very good out here in Hawaii. They dry up really fast. So the ones that I had from when I lived on the American East Coast, I've pretty much been replacing them. The only thing that I've been buying is the GW washes, because they're phenomenal still, and the GW contrast stuff. I'm excited to try out the Army Painter contrast. See, like that, right? Like that's that. Like I didn't do that, right? Like that's just it not drying very well out here in Hawaii. Is this one dead? Yeah, that one's dead. Okay. Yeah, see, like I had to check to see if they actually had paint in them because they die so easily. I would like a yellow. And in yellow. That's a good one. Alright. Paint mixing time! As I knock everything over. Okay. How do I do the paint mixing? So, since I'm really bad with my palette and I never remember where stuff is wet and where stuff isn't, I do all this kind of mixing in bottle caps. Let's stick to that one while we have a tornado of me shaking GW contrast paint. But yeah, so I do all this stuff in bottle caps. Because this way I don't know what's like wet and what's not on my palette, because my palette's always dirty as hell. Let's be real, right? So like this is a side effect just to save me from my own dumbness. Alright. It's not a like life hack or anything. It's just I'm dumb and this helps me save myself from it. See, like I just stuck my finger in fucking pink paint. I'm a genius. Alright. Okay. So we have contrast Plague Bearer's Flesh. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix some of this in. I'd really like a middle brush. Do I have one? Let's see if I got one. You're a detail brush. You're, I don't know what the fuck you are. All right, fine. We'll just use this guy. It's fine. We'll use this guy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab some, drop it in. Now a lot's going to go onto the brush because I picked a brush with a big belly. And it's going all the way up the wick and everything because I'm a dummy. Alright. I need to get that out of there. Just like that. There we go. Alright. I'm going to mix in a little yellow. Just because this is going to lighten up the Plague Bearer's Flesh a little bit. I'm going to mix in more of that. It's not enough. Mix in more Plague Bearer's Flesh. Really should get myself some pipettes is what I should do. Pipettes would be a good call. There we go. Then we're going to mix in a little Typhus Corrosion. So the stuff isn't, this is technically a technical paint. But it's going to darken it down and give it a gross green. And it's going to give like little flecks, which is what we really want. So when it dries, we're going to get kind of like the spotty, gross, dry kind of pattern. See, and it's going to make this like nasty, like, I don't know, sewage water color. Alright, I want it to be a little greener than that, so we're going to pick it up a little bit. It's going to be like a not a healthy color, let's put it that way. So, looks like fucking swamp water, right? So that's sort of our goal. So when we paint it on, I'm gonna apologize. Let me clean my brush off here. When we paint it on, we're gonna get kind of like this gross kind of like pickle color, right? You can see it's gonna like pull into the recesses, but it's gonna pull extra because of the Typhus Corrosion. So we're gonna get these like tide marks. You can sort of see it where it's not like just full contrast pulling. It's kind of making these like nasty ass like stretch marks kind of. That's what I really want, right? Like I want these like deep kind of like, it looks like dirt setting in, not just its highlights and lowlights like contrast. You know, that's sort of what I really want. So just gonna block that in everywhere we can. And for some of the areas we're probably gonna have to move to a smaller brush, but that's okay. There's up in there. See, it's just gonna make this like nasty kind of like, I don't know. It just makes the contrast paint like have more tide marks, which is what I really want, because it looks more dirty that way instead of just like highlights and lowlights. Right, like the Typhus Corrosion there's gonna make it just sit kind of weird, and I really like the look of it. There we go. Just blocking those in. You can see I've got it a couple spots, but we'll go back and we'll clean those up. Couple spots like on the eyes and stuff. We'll hit those with the details when we're done. And our gross buddy here is coming to life with our contrast paint. Now we just want to hit the tentacles as well. This is just going to tie them in a little more and make them extra gross looking, right? Because they're not like alien tentacles. These are like gross, flagellant, like bacteria, right? Like that's why all the nurgle stuff has so many tentacles and all. It's not like tentacles like Tzeentch. It's tentacles like bacteria. You know, it's like flagella. Just gonna hit it in a couple more areas. We're gonna hit some more of those tentacles, and it's gonna just tie the tentacles in a little, make them extra gross. All right. That's why I wanted to make sure the tentacles had a little more time to dry. All right, I'm not trying to get perfect coverage over them, but I'm just trying to get them mostly covered so they got some nastiness. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing around the base of the tongue. We're not going to carry this all the way up the tongue, we're going to do it around the base. Like that. And then when we put our wash on it, we'll produce a nice little blend. Where like the inner part is grosser. Just like that. Yeah. No, he's coming along. His tentacles look like not a healthy color. Yeah, not a healthy color is the goal with nurgle. They look like infected parasites. Yep, and that's why, like, a lot of the nurgle stuff has tentacles, and like at first I was like, why the hell does the nurgle stuff have tentacles? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, oh, he's like the king of like bacteria and disease, and okay, he's a corrupted nature god, but like he's represented by bacteria and disease and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Bacteria and disease has like ton of like little flagellas and spike proteins and all these little things that like hang off of them. I was like, all these weird growths and stuff. I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, actually. Makes a lot of sense. Alright. So our friend here is just going to dry up now. Just going to dry. Just going to, as that contrast paint dries, just going to hit a couple spots. Or maybe the white's showing through too much, and the contrast just wasn't strong enough there, something like that. Just going to go in and hit some more details while it's drying. Do an extra layer here at the base of the tongue, just to create more of a gradient when we do washes. Right. Just like that. A little bit of the area around the tongue too. Just so he has a little bit of a darker spot, like at the back of the mouth. We'll do that. Just like that. Alright, and then we are going to set him down for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to come back and clean up a couple little details. And then we're going to hit him with washes and he'll be done. And we're going to finish the rest of our tea. I'm trying to get off drinking soda, so been teeing it up. We'll go back to Mr. Nurgle while we wait. Get a little silver out for his weapon. I will say, if you do like a mix like this over silver, a mix of like Plague Bearer's flesh and stuff over silver, you get an awesome effect. And then you come back later and you dry brush it with silver, and you just have this awesome looking like infected weapon. Like it looks like the metal's like rotting. It's really cool. And it's like kind of yellowed from the contrast paint, and then it's blotchy. Really, really like it. So our buddy there, he's gonna dry while we work on Mr. Pig. We work on Mr. Pig. This guy's a 3D print too. I do not remember the name of the company that makes him, but they make some cool shit, man. This company does. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of them. Apparently, it's like a former GW sculptor. This company is. I think he's called like the Lord of Swine or something like that. This mini's called. If you search Nurgle on My Mini Factory, he comes right up. He was just released like a couple of days ago too. So yeah, but this company makes awesome stuff. They have a bunch of multi-part like Beastmen skeletons. Some like what are they? Oh, okay. Well, I just shit out a ton of silver, so we're gonna use that. Yeah. Anyway, minus the fact that I now have silver for fucking days on my palette. Yeah. So this company that makes this pig makes awesome stuff. They've got like a multi-part Beastmen kit. They've got a it's like a multi-part like warg riders, goblins. It's super cool. Super cool. I'm just using up that silver. Oh, thank you. I'm just using up some silver because I shit it out everywhere by accident, and I don't want it to go to waste. But yeah, they've got like multi-part like warg rider goblins that are awesome. They've got a multi-part like beastmen skeletons. They've got a really cool like multi-part like orc, like fantasy orc set. It's really cool. Man, my ear's really acting up. Just cool stuff they do. I wish I could remember the name of them. Because they're really cool stuff. And like that Pigman printed out without any trubs at all. So like I can't recommend them enough. Really cool. These are all things I didn't 3D print. These are all GW stuff. I'm just using up that silver because it exploded all over my fucking palette. But yeah, like I really want to get their like multi-part Beastmen. Really cool. Multi-part, it's like Beastmen, like skeletons. Like freaking Jason and the Argonauts, but like with cow people. It's like the coolest thing. Really dig it. So I want to pick that up. I haven't picked up that file yet though. And their like warg riders are also amazing. And the fact that they're multi-part means that you can do customization stuff on them. So like for example, if you just wanted just the heads, you could print just that out. This is Felthius in the Tainted Cohort. I picked this guy up like 1 billion years ago because they were discontinuing him, and I decided to keep him around because, I decided to build him recently because I thought he would make a cool enemy in Stargrave. I don't have any of these Death Shroud Terminator guys, so he's the only one I have. So I was like, oh, he'll make a cool enemy. And then I don't have a unit of regular Terminators that matches my current army. I have the unit I did for Kill Team years and years ago. God, it was only like 3 years ago, but Jesus. It feels, with COVID and everything, it feels like so long ago. But yeah, they're the ones I have. So I wanted some other Terminators that match the rest of my troops for Stargrave. So I thought painting these guys up now seemed like a perfect opportunity. Splart. Alright. So like I said, I'm only doing this because I wasted so much silver paint like a fucking derp head. And then we'll get back to the stuff. Our boy is drying anyway. He's not ready yet. He needs a couple more minutes. Anyway, so it works out. Let's see. There's a bunch of like silver stuff. Use a bunch here. See, I'm just trying to use up that paint instead of just wasting it all like an idiot like I did. So there we go. These are Chaos Riders, Saves the Darkness. I was having sort of a bad day last week, and I fell into my other anxiety trap of going shopping. So I was like, fuck it, Slaves to Darkness, let's go. So that's why I got these guys. And I was like, you know what? Because I'm interested in doing AOS Nurgle Army, because I have an AOS. Like, I have an AOS All Demons Army for... Let me first say, I have a All Demons Army for Nurgle for 40k. I have a 25 power list for 40k, which is just enough to play Combat Patrol with them. And I was like, you know what? It would be really fun to expand that out and then play AOS with it. Which is one of the reasons why I'm printing out all the Nurgle stuff. Alright, we'll call that it. We at least got to use up some of that paint. Alright. Let's look at our friend. Hello, friend. Let's see what updates you need. Alright, you're going to need some teeth updates, I know, because I saw some mistakes I made on your teeth. So we will update your teeth. Yep. And then we're going to let you sit again, and then we're going to give you washes. So see, I know I hit the tips of these teeth here. Like, I know I got this tooth there. Like, I know I got that one there. These ones here. Getting the bottoms of them isn't the end of the world, right? Like, at the end of the day, it would be okay. Because it's Nurgle, everything's kind of dirty and sort of blends together. It's alright, like, with that I hit those, like, it's not terrible. But because of the way I chose to do the order of operations here, I have a chance to tighten them up, so I'm going to. So since I've got that chance, I'm going to use it. You know what I mean? Like, if I had done a different order of operations, it wouldn't have been that big of an issue. Like, you know, like it would have been like, oh, okay, you know. Got a little bit too much here or there. It's alright. Not a big problem. I'm going to clean that guy up right there. As well, inside of that tusk. And we're going to touch the outside of the tusk. Just clean up the edge there. And clean up this one too. Pretty much anywhere I saw that I just got too much on, I'm just going to hit it as we can. Alright, so that one's good. Now we're going to touch up the white. There we go. It's just the white around the eyes. Just so we can try to maintain the circular shape. Our goal here is to really make sure we don't get it on the outside edges, which we really don't want to do. So there we go, just like that. And then just like that. So we can maintain some of the circular shape. Things like, see that little divot there, we want to get rid of that. Get rid of that right there. Alright. I'm going to get rid of this guy. Alright, because these will read as eyes a lot better if they are circular. Just like that. Are there any other things that we want to touch up? Everything else, once we hit it with the washes, should do the job. So, alright, now he dries for 5 more minutes, and then we will do our Agrax Earthshade wash over him, and he'll be all done. Alright, let's move over to Mr. Piggy again. Let's see, he's got a cape. We'll do that in red. Red. So this is heavy red from Vallejo. I love this red. It's like my favorite red. This is essentially, I think, Mephiston Red, I think it's called. Just really nice. Fantastic coverage. Nice, dark, deep, like crimson. Really, really, really good red. It's the red that I do all the cloth of my my nurgle stuff in. I don't tend to paint like a lot of like blood and gore on my nurgle stuff, so but I like to have some red in there. Like, I think it works really good with kind of the gross green tones that a lot of it tends to have. So because of that, I like to have some red just mixed in. It's another reason why I actually use so when I paint nurgle stuff, I paint really bright armors. So I actually paint them a color called Kraken Skin, which is that. And then I mix that with orange and teal. So like the armor highlights are in a mix of orange and teal. And it has a really nice kind of like color uniformity to it. I'm a really big fan of it. All right. Since we got the red out, we might as well put it on Felthius and his buddies here. So I think Felthius got a big fucking cape. It does, but it's a lot more of a like fur cape on one side. Weird. Okay. On the inside, yeah, it's a lot more of like a hide. So if we paint it all red, he should have kind of the same tone, and then I should be able to dry brush it brown. Should be the goal. But we'll at least... Yeah, and then I'll have red on the inside, and the outside will be like furred, but it'll be like red underneath and brown on the outside. That should look pretty good. I think a lot of people were divided on this model's face. He's got this really like crazy big happy grin. At first I fucking hated it, but then I think I actually really like it. So at first I was trying to replace his head with something else, but I think actually like after I built him I was like, you know what, this is actually really cool. He looks like a very happy nurgly guy. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, you can see just like that fur is going to take dry brushing really well when I actually do it. Alright, that's it for that blob of red paint. So, alright, so let's get some washes down on our buddy here and we can wrap this up. Oh, liquid skill in a bottle, liquid skill in a bottle. Alright, now we're just going to go over the entire model with our extra shade. And it's going to give us a little bit of blends on our teeth so that they look dirty. Same thing with the inside of the mouth. Alright, and it's just going to add a little more dirt to everything out here. Right, it's nurgle. We don't want like a consistent skin tone. Right, there should be patches and colors, and everything should be nasty. Right, like that's what we really want. Right, like we don't ever want nurgle stuff to look pristine and like perfect. Right. See, I'm just kind of getting it around, right? Like it's not perfect everywhere. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. And then I'm making sure the teeth are hit so they will tie in. And like that. And just like that. Working my way down them gums. So it's going to let me fill in with some dirty color anywhere I sort of missed. Because there's a lot of folds and stuff here in his, like, big vagina mouth. I mean, he's called the Maul. That's pretty fitting. There's a lot of like little bits and bobs in this, so it would be very, very, very easy to miss something here. So going back in the wash is at least going to, since he was primed white, it's at least going to give some kind of color there if I missed it, right? Like if there's a little white spot somewhere in here, it's now going to be a little brown spot, you know, and that's what I want. There we go. Do the back side of the tongue, just like that. You should now wind up with a pretty nasty gradient working its way up the tongue. See? We do want it to be dark on the inside of the mouth. There's a little bit too much pooling in there, so we'll spread that around to our friends. Okay. Make sure we get the areas around these eyes. That's what we really want. Right. And if I accidentally touch them, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It'll be alright. Just want to make sure I have that. Got that line sort of going around the piece. Right? There we go. Yep. Now as it's drying, I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit a couple of these teeth to try to get... Yeah. There we go. All right. Coming along. Wow. Has a bit Dark Souls vibe. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think he does. That's pretty cool. It's very nice of you to say. Alright. Well, while he's still drying, I want to do one last little detail to him. I'm gonna clean this cup out. Right, where did my thing of water go? Was it this one? No, that's Exor Shade. Did I forget to grab it? Hold on, I've got a paint pot of water somewhere. Ah! I want to try something new that I haven't tried before. Saw one of my friends do it, so there we go. I thought it was pretty dope, so we're gonna try it out. I've got to go. Nice stream and be well. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining. You are my first international viewer. You were very pleasant. Thank you very much. I greatly enjoyed it. Alright. We're going to do one last thing. So what I'm doing is I'm just watering down a little bit of the same stuff we use for the teeth. Alright. So this is the same paint we use to paint the base of the teeth. I'm just watering some of it down. It's going to be super, super runny. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to do a blend on the end of the teeth. Just so they stand out a little bit. And we want to do this while the Exor Shade's still wet, because if it fucks up, I want to be able to go back and make it go away, basically. So what I'm doing, I'm just sort of hitting the ends of the teeth so they have a little bit of a light tip facing inwards. One of the reasons I want to do this is I think it's going to help draw your eye inwards to the center of the mouth and the center of the model, which is what we really want. And two, if this thing was biting a lot of stuff, in theory, these parts of the teeth would be pretty clean. right? They would be less dirty. It should give us a little bit of a nice gradient. And that's why we want to do it while we're doing it with this watered down paint, and while the aggressor shade is still kind of damp. All right, just want to get those details. Now, I've never tried to do this. My friend painted a beholder skull, and he did this on there, and it looked really good. So I'm copying from him a little bit. I think this is how he did it. This is how I've done the blends for like horns and stuff before. So I'm using that same logic here for the teeth. I should dry a little. So I don't want, I think I actually absolutely do not want doing this, because I don't want like a really stark like line. So I'm trying to get away from. I'm trying to sort of work it down a little more than that. Get some like more random highlights on the tips of the teeth there. Yeah. I'm going to do the same thing down here in the horn too, just a little bit. Since I've still got some on the brush, we'll take that same logic. Just work that down. Just like that. And there we go. There's our nurgle boy. There's our nurgle boy all done. He's got his teeth detailed. He's got his tentacles painted. Everything is good to rock and roll. He is ready to be based. Well, he's got to dry a little, and then he's ready to be based. Looking nice and disgusting, like he should, because he's nurgle. Yeah. No, I'm actually really happy with how the fade on the tongue and the teeth came out. I'm super happy with that. That looks really nice. Yeah, super, super happy with that. But yeah. So that is 3D printing and chatting about 3D printing. And this is the Maul from Beastaria Miniatures. I've also got the Piggy that we worked on a little bit to paint. And a couple other things like that. But yeah, these guys will be showing up on the channel soon in my Stargrave games. And in AOS too. There's going to be my alternate Beast of Nurgle model. So, pretty sweet. But, you know, there he is. Pretty rockin'. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it there and go scrounge me up some lunch, because it is lunchtime out here in Hawaii. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was fun. And hopefully me talking about 3D printer stuff was fun. I will definitely have more 3D printed stuff on my channel to paint soon. Like Mr. Piggy. Like Mr. Piggy here. And some other stuff as well. But thank you guys for watching. We'll end on our boy there, painted start to finish in one stream, hour and a half, looking damn good. But we'll go ahead and we'll call it there. Thank you guys for watching, and